watching WUFT Midday.
A key federal advisory panel is changing the U.S. childhood vaccine schedule. The Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices went through a major shakeup in recent weeks. Welcome to WUFT Midday. I'm Victoria Perez.
And I'm Genesis Trujillo. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. handpicked all new members for the panel. Sherelle Hubbard has details on how the vote unfolded.
Members voted 8-3 against recommending the MMRV vaccine for children younger than 4, instead recommending young children get the measles, mumps, and rubella shot separately from the varicella or chickenpox vaccine. The panel is newly installed under HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a longtime vaccine skeptic.
The fact is that we are honest vaccine scientists that let the data speak whether the results go in one direction or the other.
The new head of the advisory committee pushed back on criticism that the panel is anti-vaccine. Their recommendation is expected to shape doctors' guidance to patients, state vaccine policy, as well as access and insurance coverage.
I do want to stress that the ACIP committee used to be this anonymous group of subject matter experts. Now this has become this politicized show.
The panel's vote isn't final and must be approved by the director of the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. But with no permanent CDC director in place, the committee's decision could get final sign-off from Kennedy. Meanwhile, the panel chair had a challenge to former CDC leaders.
I suggest that you should only trust scientists that are willing to debate fellow scientists with different views. I hereby invite each of the 9 former CDC directors to have a live public debate with me concerning vaccines.
A medical analyst warned that these topics are too complex to be settled through public debates. I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
Let's take a live look at the White House. President Trump returned from his visit to the United Kingdom and now returns to focus on his domestic agenda. Today, he's expected to have a key call with the Chinese president on trade and TikTok. He also returns amid the controversial cancellation of a late-night TV show. Alice Barr is in London with more on Trump's activity both here and abroad.
President Trump is back in Washington, leaving behind his royal reception in the UK and diving into domestic debate. On Air Force One, suggesting broadcast networks he says are against him could lose their licenses.
I mean, they're getting a license. I would think maybe their license should be taken away. It would be up to Brendan Carr.
A reference there to the FCC chairman who criticized ABC late-night host Jimmy Kimmel and hinted at potential action shortly before the network indefinitely pulled the show off air over these comments.
The MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
The issue stirring free speech questions at a press conference alongside UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, himself facing criticism from some on the right.
We need free speech in the UK because we've not had it for a long time.
While Trump protesters we spoke to accused him of silencing critics.
If he doesn't like somebody, he gets rid of them.
The president and prime minister also pressed on the intensifying war in Gaza, with the UK preparing to officially recognize a Palestinian state.
I have a disagreement with the prime minister on that score.
While Starmer nudged the president to ramp up pressure on Russian President Putin to end the assault on Ukraine. President Trump turning today to a call with China's President Xi Jinping, looking to close a TikTok deal to keep the popular app available to millions of American users. In London, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Not much has changed in weather this week. Skies are still sunny and temperatures are staying in the low 90s for many of us. UF Chief Meteorologist Tim Miller is live in the weather studio. Tim, despite the heat, it seems like a great day to get outside.
Yeah, it really does, frankly. The weather is absolutely great. I want to first show you this big meatball out here. This is Gabrielle, and it is well out to sea. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. You see these little wispy clouds, though, great indication of wind shears. So going to be slow to develop, there's no doubt. Here is the very latest on Gabrielle. Well, there it goes. Well, we'll talk more about her coming up in just a minute. She's a little television shy at the moment. 63 was the overnight low in Gainesville, 61 in Lake City, so rather pleasant, no doubt about that. Looking outside now, 88 degrees. Winds are calm, humidity fairly low, so it's really nice outside. Here's our afternoon planner. Temperatures, though, will certainly warm up. 92 coming up this afternoon. We'll look at the rest of the forecast and the weekend straight ahead.
Republicans fast-tracked dozens of President Trump's nominees in a singular vote. Thursday, the Senate confirmed 48 Trump nominees after Republicans invoked the so-called nuclear option to change Senate rules. The move allowed nominees to be considered as a group instead of individually. Republicans argued it was necessary to clear a backlog of stalled nominees over the objection of Democrats. More news from the Trump administration. President Trump is asking the Supreme Court to allow him to immediately fire Federal Reserve Board member Lisa Cook. President Trump is trying to reshape the Federal Reserve despite its traditional independent status. He invoked a provision that allows Federal Reserve Board members to be removed for cause, citing allegations of mortgage fraud against Cook brought by one of Trump's political appointees. Cook has not been charged with any crime and has denied the allegations.
Lawmakers are reacting to the suspension of ABC late night host Jimmy Kimmel. His show, Jimmy Kimmel Live, was, quote, preempted indefinitely Wednesday night for remarks he made on air about the Republican response to the assassination of Charlie Kirk. The response to the suspension has proved polarizing on Capitol Hill, with Democrats calling the move a dangerous threat to free speech, and many Republicans praising ABC's parent company, Disney. But some lawmakers have mixed opinions on the decision.
Is it First Amendment protected? Yes. Does he have the right to say that stuff? Yes, he does. Can he go on other platforms and say it? Yeah, sure he can. But do you want me to agree with it? Like, no, I think it's horrible.
In an interview on Air Force One on Thursday, President Trump threatened to revoke broadcast licenses of networks, quote, against him.
Authorities are investigating the death of a man on a popular roller coaster at Universal's Epic Universe theme park in Orlando. The 32-year-old man, now identified as Kevin Rodriguez Zavala, was riding the Stardust Racers roller coaster Wednesday evening when he became unresponsive. He was taken to the hospital where he died. The medical examiner's office released a report today saying the cause of death was multiple blunt impact injuries and ruled it an accident. In a statement, Universal says that the theme park is cooperating with the ongoing investigation. The roller coaster remains closed at this time.
A special arrival came in the mail for a Palm Beach County man. It's a letter dated March of 2001 from his mother, who died in the September 11th terrorist attacks that same year. Reporter John Shaman was there when he opened the letter.
A letter came to my attention at the television station the other day. Its real recipient lives in Fort Pierce.
It's like a piece of history right here.
It was for Javon Castrillo, dated March of 2001.
Ancient artifact.
And it was full of praise.
Dear Miss Thurman, Javon read a book last night that he brought home from the library. He read it from cover to cover. I told him that I would write you a note and tell you what an outstanding job he did. We are very proud of him and will continue to work with him at home. Again, thank you for your dedication and courage to the job that you do. CeCe Lyles. Very touching. Because it seems very sweet. And it seems like something she would definitely say, you know.
The writer of this letter, Javon Castrillo's mother, was CeCe Ross Lyles. This former Fort Pierce detective was a flight attendant on board Flight 93 that crashed in Shanksville, Pennsylvania on 9/11. The letter was sent to me by Javon's kindergarten teacher, Tammy Thurman.
Full circle.
Full circle.
Thurman tells me she kept this letter as she moved to 4 different schools in Lee County.
As a mom, I know you need to see those words from your mom. And she was a wonderful woman, and you were a wonderful student.
Thurman even sent along a class photo.
There we are, best of buds. Thank you so much for
You're welcome.
both the roles you guys played in getting me this note. Yeah, you guys did great.
A father now to a 3-month-old, Castrillo tells me he'll continue to make his mom proud since he knows she was proud of him.
That was John Shaman reporting. You may remember while all the passengers and crew died in the crash, they did fight back against the hijackers and were credited with helping preventing the plane from reaching its intended target.
You only have a few days left to submit your application for the 2025 bear hunting season. This was the first open bear hunting season since 2015. According to FWC officials, over 100,000 applications have been submitted across the state. The last day to apply is next Monday, September 22nd, before midnight.
Cedar Key boaters, the city says annual launch passes go for sale Monday. A launch pass allows you to access boating facilities and boat ramps. It's over $32 for an annual pass for residents and $321 for non-residents. The city asks you to bring your current boat trailer registration. You can bring payment to the Cedar Key City Hall Monday through Friday next week from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m.
The Ocala Police Department says a student responsible for starting a fire in a middle school bathroom is in custody. The fire alarm sounded at Fort King Middle School just before noon Wednesday. A student resource officer discovered a soap dispenser on fire in a bathroom and quickly put the fire out. OPD says the 13-year-old confessed to starting the fire. He was arrested for arson to an educational institution.
Starting this weekend, drivers traveling through Marion County can expect nighttime road closures. From September 21st to September 26th, FDOT crews are working on paving and moving unnecessary materials on the northbound lanes of I-75. The road work extends from County Road 462 to County Road 484 in Ocala. Expect 2 lanes to shut down each night from roughly 7:30 to 6 a.m.
Calling all music and art lovers in Ocala, the city's first Friday Art Walks returns October 3rd with a fun new addition, the Sunset Song Series. People can listen to free outdoor concerts at Citizen Circle in Osceola Avenue. The October 3rd concert features a reggae band from St. Petersburg. These events will take place on the first Friday of each month through at least December. The city of Gainesville is deciding not to build a new parking lot at Tom Petty Park. This comes after locals voiced their concerns about the project in a city commission meeting yesterday. The city's Wild Space and Public Places proposed a project to increase parking access. Some Gainesville residents were worried about the parking lot that could cause green space to be lost. The city commission unanimously voted to find a different solution to a possible parking problem. You can find exactly what residents were saying about the proposal at WUFT.org.
His fight against Hodgkin's lymphoma started a month ago, but UF student Matthew Bravo is not letting the disease slow him down. WFT's Crystal Felix tells us how the UF and Gainesville communities are coming together to make sure he knows he's not alone, one buzz cut at a time.
I can't be more grateful for the brotherhood that they give me and for the support that they've given me and every other blood cancer patient.
Shout out Bravo. Shout out Bravo.
It's only been a month since UF student Matthew Bravo learned he's battling Hodgkin's lymphoma, and help for this fight came swiftly from members of his fraternity.
I'd say he's a pillar of not just our chapter, but the campus community.
Thursday morning, Delta Chi hosted an event called Buzz Cuts for Bravo, where every $100 raised, a brother shaves his head. Roughly 50 people stood in solidarity with Bravo.
And so we wanted to rally around him and just let him know that he's not alone, provide him support, and raise as much money as we can for him.
Bravo, along with his brothers and friends, had the goal of raising $1,000 by the end of the month. But now, they're well over their goal. At last check, it's more than $17,000 raised. Bravo says it's not only about him.
My mission, right? Fundraising to make sure that people can have access not only to better treatment options who are current patients, but making sure that future blood cancer patients can have better options available to them.
Gainesville commissioners are proclaiming September as Matthew Milton Bravo Hodgkin's Lymphoma Awareness Month.
We are just a few days away from fall, but it's not feeling remotely like that. It's a Florida fall for sure. 88 our current temperature. Guess what? It's going to get warmer. Your forecast straight ahead.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome back to WFT Midday. Showers and storms haven't been a problem this week. UF Chief Meteorologist Tim Miller is live in the weather studio with how much longer these mostly cloudless skies should last.
Yeah, Janice, I wish we could say there'd be a problem, right? Because we could certainly need the rain, but we haven't had any at all. But it's a pretty afternoon, I'll grant you that. 88 in Gainesville, Jacksonville at 87, St. Augustine pretty much the same, Daytona at about 85 degrees. Here are the dew points. When we talk about dew points in the 70s and upper 70s, it's just horribly muggy outside. We've had them in the 50s. That's really comfortable. Notice we're starting to eke up here a little bit. 65 Gainesville, 65 the Villages. Still not bad, but it's a great indication a little bit more moisture in the air. So here's what's going on. Not a whole lot. High pressure to our north, bringing a little drier air in. We've had this northeasterly wind for days, and that just really puts an end to any showers and storms. Low pressure well off our coast, moving off towards the northeast. So that'll be the end of that. Let's go further towards the north. High pressure sits over the Queen City near Charlotte, North Carolina, bringing in that drier air, and that's why you barely see any clouds around the southeast. So that certainly is a rarity, but we're headed into that late September, early October where things get dry. Let's go way out west. Another little meatball out here. This is not a named storm, but the Pacific is certainly getting active. That will continue to move out to sea. This little clump of showers off the Mexican coast is something to watch. Let's go find out what Gabrielle is up to. Here it is. This is the latest from the National Hurricane Center as 11 o'clock. Next advisory comes out at 4 this afternoon. Tropical storm, yes. Perhaps a Category 1 or 2 hurricane, possibly. But again, it remains well out to sea with zero effect for us at all. Futurecast, we'll pick it up starting tomorrow morning. Clouds start to roll on in. Nothing really exciting about that. I'll stop it at noon, but you see it's mostly sunny. What you see, though, is this northeast wind. Even though we have it coming off the Atlantic, not a lot of moisture. 1 or 2 little showers may pop up. I'm going to keep that rain chance tomorrow really about less than 20%. So there you have it. Low temperatures coming up for tomorrow morning around 70. So we're certainly warmer than we have been over the last few days for sure. And high temperatures coming up for Saturday, low 90s. All right, so pretty much again like we are today. Here's a look at our weekend forecast. I'll do 92 Saturday, 90 on Sunday. Just about a slight chance, 20% chance of a shower out there. Really nothing to write home about. Here's a look at our 7-day forecast. You'll notice fall comes next week, but you wouldn't really notice it with the temperatures, right? Temperatures in the low 90s. Daytime, nighttime, low 70s with only a slight chance of a late day shower. That's your forecast.
You may find it slightly cheaper to borrow money. The Federal Reserve is cutting interest rates by 1/4 percentage point, the first cut in 9 months. This means that interest rates for mortgage rates could fall as well. In today's Consumer Watch, Jen Sullivan looks to see what this means for home buyers.
Some good news for potential home buyers. Mortgage rates have begun to dip, which means it costs less to borrow money.
I think there are some consumers who have been priced out.
Lawrence Yoon with the National Association of Realtors says high mortgage rates have shut out many potential buyers, but that's beginning to change.
Buyers are in a better negotiating power.
Wednesday, the Federal Reserve announced a rate cut of 1/4 percentage point, bringing lending rates down between 4 and 4.25%.
The moderation in growth largely reflects a slowdown in consumer spending. Activity in the housing sector remains weak.
But that doesn't mean mortgage interest rates will automatically drop. As of last week, interest rates for a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage are at 6.35%, according to Freddie Mac. Back in January, rates were higher than 7%. Reducing your interest rate by even just 1 percentage point can save you thousands, depending on how much you pay for your home, according to Rocket Mortgage. But home prices remain high. The latest data shows the median existing home sale price was just over $422,000 in July, according to the Realtors Group.
One can never predict when it will spike, but certainly any crash, that is out of the question given that we have historically low mortgage default rate.
If you are in the market to buy a home, Yoon recommends getting approved for a mortgage now and figuring out your budget. If you're looking to sell your home, attractive landscaping, slight repairs and remodeling go a long way, and price your home competitively. Overpricing could mean your home sits on the market for a while. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Coming up next, Florida football hopes to get back on track and weather the storm in a road showdown with the Miami Hurricanes.
After a tough loss to LSU last week, DJ Lagway and company are seeking their first win against an FBS team this season. Don't go anywhere. We'll have the latest in sports after the break.
This is Natalia Lopez with your sports update. Florida Gators football leave the swamp as they travel to take on number 4 Miami. Last season, the Gators were crushed in a tough home opener against the Canes, 41-17. Last week, the Gators lost to number 3 LSU 20-10. This week, they have to figure out how to overcome a devastating 5 interceptions by the offense and a suspension of assistant coach Jaber Jaluk Florida head coach Billy Napier is excited and looking forward to this historic rival.
Look, we're working our tail off. We're excited about the challenge. These are the stages that you dream of, right? These are answered prayers.
Basketball season is around the corner, starting on November 3rd when they face Arizona in Las Vegas. Tonight in Gainesville, there will be an inaugural Florida Gators men's basketball reunion. UF players from the past 7 decades will be in attendance, including former Gator Vernon Maxwell, who is now again the Gators' all-time leading scorer. The UAA has recently reinstated his stats from 1985 to 1989. Former Gator Maxwell was involved in a 1980s NCAA investigation that placed the Gators on an unsanctioned probation. The athletic director at the time decided to strip his individual stats. This week, the UAA reinstated those stats, making him once again the Gators' all-time leading scorer. Maxwell moved on to win 2 NBA World titles with the Houston Rockets. Current Florida coach Todd Golden will be hosting some of the greatest Gators, including Maxwell. In high school football, the Butte Bobcats will play against the Richmond Hill Wildcats. Last year, the Wildcats were the reason for the Bobcats' first back-to-back loss since 2019. Butte is coming off a win against the Manatee Hurricanes 30-13. 2 weeks ago, they crushed Eastside with a record of 3-1. The Bobcats are looking to get their 3rd win at home tonight at 7 p.m. Great news for Vanguard High School. Marion County school officials are working towards an estimated $20 million renovation for Booster Stadium. This would be the host of home games for Vanguard, a venue for graduation, events, and parking. And that's your sports updates. We'll have more on Florida and Miami coming up on First at 5. I'm Natalia Lopez.
Now let's take a look at what's coming up on First at 5 on Channel 5. First, reporter Nicole Borman brings us a story on some unique advocates for mental health to prevent school shootings. Then, the director of No Kid Hungry tells us more about her mission to fight food insecurity for school children. Lastly, what we can expect for the much-needed renovation on the Booster Stadium for Vanguard High School.
You know, it's been a lot cooler in the mornings when I'm walking to the studio. Is that going to last through the weekend?
No, it's going to get much hotter. There's no doubt about it. I wish I could say yes, right? Temperatures in the 70s overnight, and then during the day, temperatures in the 90s. So yeah, this is still feeling very summer-esque with a slight chance of a shower, I should say. We'll do that Sunday and bring those shower chances in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and into Thursday of next week. So although fall's coming, summer's not quite done yet.
Thanks for joining us on WUFT Midday. We'll be back next week for another edition.
We'll see you later today for First at 5 on Channel 5. Have a great afternoon.